A bit later than normal, but for good reason. I've been busy all weekend, traveling out and about and having fun with friends. So let's talk about a little bit of that today. Trevor in Tokyo. Today I'm just going to talk about my trip down to Akihabara and some of the stores that we went to try to get some plastic supplies. So going from where I lived to downtown took about an hour. It was quite busy. My poor friends from the US got the experience of being packed in like sardines. But even though it was packed, it was clean and quiet, which is much better than you'd see on some American subway. We transferred in Tokyo and finally stepped out in Akihabara, and yeah, I can really say that it's a completely different environment going down there as opposed to the quiet little neighborhood where I live. Namely, you have these skyscrapers going everywhere, and on every single surface is a picture of a cartoon woman with various states of dress. As we would say, Akihabara is the weeb center, where all of the nerds and losers from the West come over to get their fill of their Japanese cultural goods. But this time we managed to ignore the maid cafes and the various karaoke bars and headed to one games workshop. Yes, we went to the Warhammer Cafe in downtown Akihabara. And stepping into the place, it's quite impressive. It is a Games Workshop store. So all of the figurines and display cases they had were made to Japanese perfection. All of the prices, of course, being at GW's standard prices. Officially, we weren't allowed to take video in the store, but I had unfortunately misread the sign allowing photography and thought that it also allowed for video recording. So someone in our party, I will not mention who, decided to take plenty of video inside the store, intruding upon this sacred rule. We did have a few things in particular that we were seeking out, and my compatriots did find the sets that they wanted, but I, for once, didn't want to spend all of the money that I had, so I ended up with a smaller set. I purchased a Legions Imperialis epic scale Baneblade Squadron to sit on my desk. The pricing for this one was about 7,200 yen, or about $40 for a pair of tanks. And just a little hobby to be here with my friends while they're here. Other fun things in the store include a couple of tables where people were playing, painting stations where you can reserve in advance to paint your models, tutorials. There was a kid that was painting his first army, very cute, as well as a general cafe as well, where you can get specific merchandise for the Downtown Games Workshop Cafe. So you can get your drink, you can get your t-shirt, and you can play some games in the back, and you can pay all of the money that you have in the world to Games Workshop for the privilege of doing so. Now, a person in our party was looking for a gigantic kit, a knight set, that he was so thoughtfully demanding to leave at my place for his yearly trips out to Japan. Now, the official GW prices for these things can be $150 to $200, so you want to check out one of the smaller outlet stores in Sengoku. On our trip through the various other places in downtown Tokyo, about this time it started to rain outside and coming down fairly hard, so we managed to divert off for a little bit and get some food. Now, this was a vegan place just for funsies, and even though we'd seen a few foreigners in downtown Tokyo, this place was at least 80% foreigners. Delicious food. I would 100% recommend get these nice vegan dumplings. The staff spoke mostly Japanese, but could get by with some English. But since I was the person of the party who could speak a little bit of Japanese, I had to do the ordering. The only thing on the menu was gyoza, but that's perfectly fine with me because I could actually eat them. My other two companions were saying that they weren't very hungry and they only wanted a couple. So they ordered some 5 of these dumplings, and I had offered out of the generosity of my heart to get the full set of 11 and share with them. So we got our orders in, and we waited about 15 minutes listening to the other fellow Americans blabber on in English as we sit in the middle of Japan's capital. Comes out later, the food is delicious and steamed. We get our pair of chopsticks and we start eating. Now, I'm ravished at this point. It takes about an hour to get downtown from where I live. We've been walking around for about 3 hours without lunch. They have denied me left and right the opportunity to get some food. So I hungrily devoured at least 7 of these gyoza dumplings before they start looking at me with tears in their eyes over the 5 gyoza that they had eaten together and said, "Trevor, please, we're so hungry. Give us some of your food, please." So they left me no choice. They stole from me. From my beautiful 11 gyoza, they took 2 of them from me. And for this, I will never forgive them. They said something about the fact that I offered to buy a set to share, but no. They took from me what was mine, and I mourned the loss. After our brief lunch break, the rain had stopped, so we decided to hit a second one of the stores that was originally not on the list because we didn't want to get there drenched. So we hopped back on the train and headed up to Sengoku. This time there's a small hobby station, or a giant hobby, as the name goes by, and they sold various types of wargaming goods, including the Warhammer 40k things that we were looking for. And here, indeed, one of my friends spent all of the money that he wanted to spend on his knight. Yes, this big plastic model that he's decided to leave under my bed. How kind of him. For my part, I decided to spend the remaining amount of money in my budget for this month on a pair of small models that can sit on my shelf and be otherwise unused pieces of plastic. Here being my Chaos Knight, my War Dogs, which is a pair of mechs with their cute little spikes and chains and swords and guns. About this time, it was about 5 p.m. and it was getting dark at night, and we, having already walked 10 kilometers for the day, decided it was time to take the hour-and-a-half trip back to where we lived. However, this was not the end. You see, as a tribute for my having taken time out of my busy schedule to attend them to all of these various places downtown, they had actually offered me a handmade good indeed. And keeping with the theme, it was indeed a 40k themed handmade item. Well, you see, back home, I would play Krieg or Imperial Guard, and this knowledge burned into their brains as I tabled them again and again and again, wrought and twisted into a type of dark and insidious wrath that never quite leaves the back of one's brain. So it implored them to bring a standard of such occasion. As you can see, they brought me this handmade Krieg banner that they made with this nice stitching on the front. I'll have to upload a photo as well, but as you can see, hand-stitched, beautiful rug, nice and thick. Nonetheless, still busy, a lot of things going on, and I guess I'm the only tour guide around for now. So This week has been spending lots of fun things on our Western hobbies. Today we go back, and I'll be looking forward to it in the next video. And I hope that you'll be with me at the next video, because I'm Trevor in Tokyo, and I'll see you next time.